Hello everyone, welcome back to some more Kerbal Space Program. I think it's time to send a manned flyby of the moon. If we go and check out the science on the topic, we can go for fuel systems, which would get us bigger tanks, actually get us a sizable amount of fuel to work with. Though we wouldn't have the adapters yet. Like, I'm trying to beeline for bigger tanks, etc. We could also go for the skipper liquid fuel engine and a kickback solid fuel booster. I'd like the kickback, that would probably help out quite a bit. But on the other hand, I think it's better to go for these tanks first. It's gonna cost us a little bit of money, but did some more science off camera to get the science required. Got a little bit more money. We now have a small loan of $1 million. Or 1 million funds, rather. So, I think it's time we about upgrade R&D for like nearly $500,000. Now we'll quickly send out Jebediah in a small test ship. He's gonna do some sampling science for us now. Hopefully we'll be able to tip this over. The answer is no, we cannot. Or we can always EVA Jebby. There we go, take us a surface sample. It's going to give us 9 science, which is nothing, I suppose. Would have probably been better if we actually put down a capsule instead of just a rocket. We can just tell you to recover though, that's fine. And we'll start doing a little bit of science on the ground here, like literally just rolling around and sciencing stuff. Go on, Jeb, you know you want to. We're gonna have him run around a bit. We'll probably get the car out as well. I say car. We could get the old science mobile out, but it's gonna be a little tricky to do that. So I'll probably do that off camera. We'll gather a lot of like ground stuff here so that we can actually do things. I might fly the plane around a little bit, get some more science from things. Still from the launch pad, so we'll have to keep on walking. EVA reports already used, so we don't get a lot of that anymore. Kerbal Shores is 9. KSC is also 9. EVA report from here. Crawlerway is actually another thing, that's interesting. So that is roughly 11 science we are now able to put in the capsule, and then we'll quickly... I hesitate to say quickly, but we'll probably off camera quickly roll the science mobile to the runway, to the wow, words are failing me today. We'll run it to the VAB, spaceplane hangar, a couple of the buildings, and things will be glorious. We'll get a lot of science, and then hopefully, hell, we might even go for a moon landing. I'm not sure though. We'll have to wait and see. Okay, so coming up on the Crooked Administration building right now, which is just a little underfunded. Just a little. It's not entirely 100%. Anyway, we have been doing some driving around, stepping on the wing, somehow reaching the ground from all the way up here. Definitely not abusing the hell out of that or anything. No, that would be weird. We're gonna drive back to the runway and we're gonna collect our allotment of science. Pretty much. We can still go around with the Science Junior in the B nose over here, using the B Mark 1, the good old fashioned one. I say good old fashioned, I don't think I've ever flown it out on camera. Maybe once. Yeah, I think once. Wheels are still jittery and everything. You want to avoid 4 times time warp basically. But I mean, here we are. Back on the old runway. I don't think we've actually done the runway because it kept saying that we're at the KSC itself. There we go. Recover for a metric load of science. I wasn't joking. That's 98 science. Literally just driving around, surface sampling and EVA reporting. It didn't cost us a penny. Well, maybe 5 funds, perhaps. Just driving. Just cruising. So that means we can get the skipper engine, so we actually have a half decent engine to get us off the ground. Which will be fantastic. I think we'll have to try and... I don't know. Would you guys say that it's time to start doing some moon science? I think it might be time. We have taken a lot of missions to go to the moon. We've got Orbit the Moon, which came up while I was sciencing, I think, so that's great. We've got science data from space around the moon. Definitely something we're gonna recover. So that's a free 50,000 right there. Then we've got 100 grand from this mission here. And then we've got a roughly 100 grand from science data from the surface of the moon. And we've got a test for a turbofan engine, which will help me fly stuff. That's great. We've also got an Explore Minimus mission here. I'm kind of hoping that we get the Explore Mun mission at some point, because that is a nice pretty penny to take along, and some extra science and all that. But seriously, if we go to Minimus at some point, we're gonna get 200k. Yeah, definitely going to Minimus is a good idea, let's call it what it is. Do we want to go the historic route though, and actually try and get a probe on the moon first, instead of just, you know, sending a man over right away? We don't have any any solar panels yet. We lack like 60 science for that, which is annoying. As fun as space is, I don't think we'll be able to easily get it. Unless we send someone out to the edge of the solar system, but then we might as well land on the moon, right? We'd probably skip a step or two. Yeah, I think it's a good idea to start looking at what we have now. We'll probably need to upgrade the VAB because we have a 30-part limit. So that's gonna take a lot of our funds, but on the other hand, upgrade! There we go. We now have 255 parts supported, basic action groups are available, and things are getting expensive to upgrade. Yeah, there's not a whole lot left we can really achieve by upgrading things. Could upgrade the administration building, but administration building is sort of like an afterthought in my opinion. Also, the R&D is going to cost roughly 1.7 million. So fundraising is definitely a good idea. It's going to help us get a little bit more money. But yeah, now that we have our part allotment fixed over here, I think it might be a good idea to start working on our possible moon landing pod over here. Don't be at all surprised if it ends up being something silly. We do have landing struts, right? That's going to be very helpful. I think we'll make something work with that. We'll probably put like return tanks on there. There we go. We'll put like 4 swivel engines on it instead of anything else. We'll put the landing legs on the landing struts. We're not going to use the micro struts. They're not going to be able to hold us. Let's take a quick look at the... yeah, they could fit, but they're not going to be able to lift us. Are you nuts? That looks a lot more solid. We'll start them retracted, of course. It's going to be interesting to say the least. We'll probably put parachutes on here, actually, for the re-entry. We'll put... I'm tempted to say we'll put some drogue chutes on here for re-entry. Would that obstruct the hatch? I don't think so. There we go, we'll make it even to not kill any... okay, now kill any ability to enter and leave the hatch. There we go, we've divided up our parachute, so we have the drogue chutes opening first at a higher altitude. I think it might be useful to include a basic heat shield just in case. Like, we can afford to... Actually, if we can afford to lose those tanks, then we probably should. Although, a counter argument to that is that we're gonna use them as parachutes. So no, in fact, we will keep them. There we go. And that just messed up the staging back, I know. Put the drogue suits on there, nothing to worry about. We'll quickly unselect them so they unstack, there we go. Now, we'll put a stack decoupler under here. And then we'll probably either go for the interplanetary stage, which very well could be this, don't get me wrong. Like, we need to get the 4 fuel hoses. External fuel ducts, there we go. And we can compress that a little further. There we go, it's hardly noticeable. Let's do a quick field test. Like, we need to make sure that our engineering actually works here. So let's quickly mess up the staging horribly. And this will be the Mun Explorer. There we go. We're gonna do a quick test just to see if all the tanks drain correctly, etc. and things go well. It is using that tank first. That is excellent. That means each engine roughly has 270 liquid fuel. We weren't burning enough to lift off, so that was good. I mean, again, this is just a test to see if everything's gonna work correctly. We're not gonna really go anywhere this time, we're just gonna revert. This is literally just a small test to see, you know, how we perform. I mean, our test was complete, so we would have cancelled that, so... it's fine. Here's the thing, we probably want a little tank here so we don't bump our own engines into the fuel tank. There we go. This is probably a terrible way of trying to do an interplanetary stage. I'm not sure why the staging is going from bad to worse now. And we will use the at least 2 thumpers on full fuel throttle to actually get us out of there. There we go. So I'm going to be very clear when we test and don't test, basically, and this is going to be yet another test. Just to see if our design holds up, if it blends, etc. It's just a joke. We're not going to put it in a blender, that would be silly. It'd be perfect Kerbal engineering, but it would be silly. We would have enough delta V to lift off. I'm not doing many delta V calculations or anything. To keep it more approachable, I don't want to bore you guys with too many calculations. Besides, figuring stuff out by hand like this is the Kerbal way, right? We run a simulation, quote unquote. We are draining a lot of our fuel pretty quickly, but this is going to help us lift off, and hopefully, like, this is going to be a little bit more extended test. Because we need to see if we can roughly make it to orbit now, have enough fuel to actually get to the moon. Never mind returning. Yeah, that engine is going to use up very quickly. At least we're sort of aerodynamic with this. Actually, no, that's a lie. We are horribly inefficient. We have lost roughly half of our fuel load at this time. We are at 10k meters. Started doing the gravity turn a little early, but I got high hopes actually that this might help us get into orbit. Apoapsis is only 20 kilometers roughly, but we do still have our one entire tank left, which is good. Warp ahead just for now. Just don't feel like warping ahead is a bad thing to do in this scenario. We'll go for a low orbit. I mean, if this turns out to be the best bloody rocket in the whole wide world, we're just gonna go to orbit right away, like. There we go, we have managed to reach orbit. Oh dear, we don't have a lot of electric charge. That is a oversight, I will say that. Probably should have brought a couple batteries along. We'll probably change that if this launch doesn't end up being satisfactory. Which very well might be the case. Quickly start burning to orbit. There we go. Point up just a little bit because, well, we're going to be coming on our apoapsis any second now. And I'd rather not fall all the way back down to Kerbin. I said Kerbin this time, not Earth. Yeah, we have run out of fuel, unfortunately. However, this stage is a lot lighter, has a lot less weight to bring around, etc. We'll get this into orbit easily enough, but the problem is I don't think we have enough fuel to make it to the moon and back. But since we are running an extended test, I figure we might as well give it a go. Reach for the stars, starting with the moon. Got a little thrown off by the Sputnik orbit over there. We're doing on fuel. We have used half our fuel load just to get there. We do have maneuvers now, that's great. We are about to pretty much reach orbit using 2/3 of our fuel load, so that tells me we can either put more on the ascent stage, like the first stage that we just decoupled, or we can maybe put some drop tanks on there. Try asparagus staging, which is probably the most effective way of getting to increase our delta V without losing too much. It would make the rocket more expensive, like significantly so, but come on guys, the moon. Right, here's the deal. I'm not gonna wait for I'm not gonna rely on my own, like, skill, basically, in this time. I wanna just get a maneuver and just drag it around, see when we encounter, if we encounter, how close we can get with an encounter, etc. Although I'm not gonna lie, that is a pretty good encounter. We're gonna get the periapsis a little lower if we can, that would be fantastic. Changing with the scroll wheel right now. 66,000. At that rate, we would literally smack into the moon. Wow. 17k. You know what? We're gonna try it. It's gonna take 21 minutes for us to get there. We're not running out of electric charge. Great. Yeah, we're not moving anything, so that makes complete sense. Don't worry about it. We are doing just fine. We are nearly out of fuel, however. Like, I really don't think we have enough fuel on this stage, which is extremely unfortunate. I was sort of hoping for that to be the case. But that is why we are doing science. We're actually way overdue on our burn. Screw it. Let's adjust the mission accordingly. So what have we learned? We did not have enough fuel. So I think a good way to adjust this would be to add additional tanks on the side here. And literally fuel off of it. Actually, that is the wrong way around. This is gonna get expensive. But we're going to the moon, so it should be worth it. I think they will run out first, and they are going to run out, so staging like that should be fine. Is there anything we can put on the nose to make it slightly more aerodynamic? Not really. We could try and recover it, but with the current engine limitations, I'm not 100% sure. We'll give it a go. give them like 4 parachutes that decouple, that activate once they decouple or something. Like, we'll basically call this the extended test. There we go, they're still attached, etc. So everything fires on launch, then the boosters decouple, then those side tanks decouple and everything. Can I not select multiple of you? Like, come on. Fine, we'll do it your way, game. There we go. And this might be enough to get us into orbit at a reasonable, like, fuel amount. We are jiggling. That is bad. Probably should have attached some struts, but we'll try it. It's looking jiggly, but it's looking sciencey. You know what, we're gonna revert quickly because I think we have struts available right now. We'll put some struts on and then we'll... We don't have struts. Oh dear God. Or is that... No, that is not me having an oversight. We literally do not have struts. What would that be in science? "15 science. I will be right back." Okay, so we quickly rolled over to the grassland over there. We did a little bit of science, because who doesn't love some science? It took like 5 minutes. And we should have the science. There we go. That's how we roll. Now we can get all the good stuff. Or at least, more good stuff. We can get containers. Not sure how we're going to use them yet. But we have the Mun Explorer. And we could give the Mun Explorer the struts it deserves. And go strutting around town, for all I care. And it did not actually attach there. Which makes me very sad. So, we will put it in reverse. There we go. So we shouldn't be able to attach to it anymore. Now, can I... Why can I not grab it from there? It's like, it's there, but Lord knows we can't get it. I mean, it doesn't matter that much. It's gonna go away eventually anyway. And then we'll side strut you guys so that you are also somewhat sturdier. And I feel like it's a good idea to reduce wobble in general. There we go. Mun Explorer Mark II. Nah, just kidding, it's just a Mun Explorer. We can put some clamps on there. Output electric charge. That reminds me. Do the electric charge thingamajig. Electric charge. Because we wouldn't want to run out of that now, do we? We could put a container on, but I'm not sure why we would. Like, not yet at least. I'll figure Kerbal inventory system out soon enough. But now, we've got to put a rocket, not a missile. And I will use the stability arms. Feels like a silly idea not to, honestly. We'll put you on there. Let's get fit on there. And like 2 holding these 2. There we go. There we go. Get the arms in there. Annoyingly enough, staging always goes to hell. Electric charge stored, but not generated. Well, that is completely a-okay. We don't have anything to generate it with, sadly. Could put radiator panels on there, but I'm not sure if they're gonna help with re-entry or anything. Craft is too large for the launch pad. Unable to launch. child. It's okay. Well, that explains why the error was so red. Or, orange, rather. Now we can! I'm not sure why it's such a problem to get the launch clamps to activate. Like, the launch clamps were the only thing holding us back there. It was completely fine with the rest of the things, but apparently we just wheel it out like this with the clamps and everything, even though they are, like, literally grounded in the launch pad there. Anyway, 3, 2, 1, ignition! There we go, smooth launch. Everything is much better now that we have struts. It feels a lot better to just have these struts sitting over there. They feel quite professional, even though they're literally just, yeah. I just like these shapes. They look, actually look sturdy, you know? Feels like we're doing something well here. Let's de-throttle back to 2/3 because we are using our solid fuel quite quickly. And we're going quite fast now, so it might be a good idea to throttle down just a bit so that we don't... What is the word here? That we don't overspeed in the atmosphere. Detach them, there we go. Up the throttle a little bit, start the gravity assist, the gravity turn. Might actually be very useful to turn sideways for just a little bit. And I will explain why in just a second. Those parachutes, that might have caused us real trouble there. So hopefully they will recover fully and everything. We'll go to full throttle now. We'll rotate back so that the nav wheel is easier to navigate for us. We are losing our, well, let's just say our prograde is dipping down a little bit. We're still getting up, don't worry about that, but yeah. And it actually looks like the engine is massively increased, so recovering might actually be a thing now. So hopefully we'll be able to recover those tanks and those engines. If we don't, then so be it. Yeah, it looks like they might have disappeared anyway. We can check F3, by the way. Nope, yeah, I think they went out of physics range. So that is a terrible shame. We'll kill the engine, there we go. And we are en route to orbit. We now have most of our tank left, so there you go, asparagus staging. Really is the way to go. It's gonna cost us a bit, sure, but I don't know. We'll get plenty back from the moon. Which also reminds me, we should put a permanent thing in orbit soon, so that we can get science data from the space of Kerbin whenever we need it. Now let's start burning for our well, also for our apoapsis, but let's get into orbit. Fuel up just a... rotate it just a bit so we are as likely to get in as stable orbit as possible. Anyway, let's quickly point up just a little bit to raise our apoapsis further. There we go. It's nearly at 80,000. I'm not trying to aim for a specific altitude or anything. I'm just trying to make sure that we get into orbit with most of our stage left intact. That would be amazing. Actually, we are going to run out of fuel once again on this stage. We should have maybe had a couple more stages on our asparagus. Or just bigger tanks. Detach. I think we didn't blow up anything important. I think. A lot of things heated. We blew up a strut. I mean, we don't have any struts that are on this final stage, so I think we'll be fine. Apoapsis is now easily controllable. So that's good. We're not gonna fall back down to Kerbin. Still have 800 fuel left. I think we are now looking at a possible moon landing here. There we go. Get back to the apoapsis. Slowly get ourselves up higher. try and be as efficient as we can. Stable orbit is achieved. We have 758 liquid fuel remaining and 927 oxidizer. This episode has gone on long enough. I think we'll end it here, and then you'll have to come back next time to see if we can land on the moon. And you know, come back and everything. That would be great. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, then please do leave a like down below. Leave a comment if you have anything to say. And until next time, when we might land on the moon, have a good one, folks.